Welcome back to Joe Stunner Boxing. Thomas Essomba is one of those sort of unsung heroes of British boxing. He's originally from Cameroon. He's now based in Sheffield in England, and his record currently stands at 13 wins with 4 KOs, 8 defeats, 1 by stoppage. That was the only stoppage defeat of his career was to Lee McGregor, and that was in the 12th round. He's got a draw on his record. He's 36 now, and he is the current EBU, European bantamweight champ. And he won this title with a unanimous decision against Alessio LaRusso over in Italy. And he won it, relatively convincingly. Amazingly, he's sort of on the verge of maybe a world title fight. But if not, to win the EBU title is a fantastic achievement. Now, he's fought just about everyone. I mean, he turned pro in 2009, lost his debut. That was, I think, in France. He then went on a string of wins. He then lost a couple of back-to-back fights in, I think one was in 2016, one was in 2017, because I saw that. That was against Jay Harris, and that was for the Commonwealth flyweight title. He lost those. He lost to Ian Butcher, then he lost to Jay Harris. They were points decisions. He's lost to other people like I say, Lee McGregor stopped him in 12. Kyle Williams outpointed him. Williams was undefeated. He beat Sean McGoldrick. That was a good win. McGoldrick was undefeated. He then beat a guy called Karzan, I think his name was, who was undefeated, stopped him in 3 rounds. He then lost on points to Sonny Edwards over 12. Drew with Thomas Patrick Ward, who was undefeated in 29 fights. Mark Leach was, I think, 15-1 or 15-1-1. He got a draw there. I think it was it a draw? No, he lost on points. That was a 12-round decision as well. So he's fighting 12 rounders, taking people a distance. He lost a split decision to Marcel Braithwaite in 2022. And that was over 12 as well. I mean, this guy has got an engine like no other. And he's fought everyone. But he got this EBU title shot and won it. Now, his first defence was against a guy called Elie Konki. And Konki is from France, came in with 14 wins, only 1 KO, and a knockout loss back in 2022, which was, he got done in 2 rounds, but I don't know the guy. I think his name was Tarjan or something. Not Tarzan, Tarjan. But apart from that, like I say, that was just a bad day at the office. He's got a good record, and he came in against Essomba. This was a mandatory defence by Essomba, and it was on one of those Iziasef. What are they called? GBM boxing, I think it's called. By the way, Iziasef is huge. Have you seen that geezer? He looks like he's about 7 foot tall and almost as wide. Huge bloke. But he's building a bit of a reputation as a small hall promoter. And some of his cards, they're free on YouTube. You can watch them. They're free. They're good. They're good value. And certainly as a main event, Thomas Essomba versus Elie Konki was a very, very good fight. Now, this was yesterday, which would have been Friday, the 9th of February. We're in 2024, 9th of February, 2024. And it was a good fight, but Essomba won a split decision. And I have to say I completely disagree with the decision. I thought Elie Konki won this 116-112. One of the judges had it 116-112 for Essomba. I have no idea what he's watching. I've absolutely no idea you can arrive at that conclusion. Because I had Essomba, I think, 4-2 up after 6 rounds, and then I gave the last 6 rounds to Konki. It looked pretty obvious to me that Konki won this fight. And some people are going to say, it's a robbery, it's this, it's that. Well, 116-112 was inexplicable. Another guy had it 116-113 to Konki, which is close to my card. I had it 8-4 in rounds. And then the third guy, I think it was an Italian judge, had it 115-114. So, and he edged it towards Essomba. Could you make a case for Essomba 115-114? If you gave him everything, literally everything in the first half of the fight, maybe. But I completely disagree. I think Konki, Elie Konki won this fight, 116, 112. And he must go home feeling that he was basically robbed, or that, the home cooking was being served up. I feel for the guy. I feel for him, because certainly in the second half of the fight, he was battering Essomba. And Essomba probably from about the 10th round onwards, looked like he was in survival mode. I don't know how he's kind of pinched this decision. I mean, a draw would have been really pushing it. But yeah, it was kind of one of those fights where in the second half, one guy dominated. And in the first half, one guy was sort of winning, but not completely dominating. And I think Essomba, who is a very come-forward pressure fighter, he was kind of fighting at a pace which, even though he's been 12 rounds, God knows how many times, he's got a fantastic, record for going the distance. I didn't think I thought he was fighting with too much urgency, and he wasn't preserving enough for the second half of the fight. And that's how it panned out, because Konki was constantly in the fight, even though, like I say, I had it 4-2 to Essomba after 6. Essomba's pressure was decent. It was good. It wasn't reckless, but Konki was landing enough counters and doing enough of his own work to make it competitive. Now, by the 7th round, maybe it's Thomas's age at 36. He's finally slowing down a bit, but yeah, Konki took over, and certainly by the 8th, 9th, 10th rounds, he was completely dominating. And he was dominating by constantly pushing Essomba back. He landed many, many more punches. Some of them were hurtful. Essomba looked perturbed. I wouldn't say he was shaken, but it may have been exhaustion. And by the end of the fight, he was just hanging on. And Konki looked like the more skillful, refined, better educated fighter. He was firing punches that were, for the most part, landing. This is the second half of the fight I'm talking about now. Whereas he hadn't quite found his rhythm, the range in the first half of the fight. In the second half, he did. He was constantly stalking. He was pushing Essomba back to the ropes. Essomba, of course, a come-forward fighter, doesn't like to be pushed back, can't really fight on the back foot very well. And Konki was just dominating. And then we got to the end of the fight. We had the decision. Nah, I don't agree with the split decision. I don't agree with any win for Thomas Essomba. I like the guy. I respect him. I've watched him fight live. I was there for the Jay Harris fight, watching that sitting ringside. I thought he actually won that against Jay Harris, but Harris got the decision. I admire him for what he's made of his life, but because he does come from very, very modest beginnings. But no, he didn't win this fight. Not for me. He didn't win it. So commiserations to Elie Konki. I suppose congratulations in a sense to Thomas Essomba. He kind of got out of jail with that one. I think he had Sonny Edwards in his corner, who's a former opponent. And Sonny was saying, the obvious thing is a world title shot, even though Thomas has got such a patchy statistical record. Well, fair enough, but he's not going to win. He's not going to beat any bantams, any world-class bantams. He's a decent European-level fighter, Thomas Essomba, and there's nothing wrong with that. And he got that EBU title on the road, which, fantastic achievement in itself. But I'm sorry, Elie Konki should be the EBU bantamweight champion right now, and he isn't. But did you see this fight on this GBM card with the man mounting that is Mr. Izzy Azif? Huge bloke. Yeah. Tell me what you think. Maybe you disagree with me. Maybe you think Essomba did win it. That's fine if you think that. I look forward to reading your comments. Please, if you're new to the channel, subscribe, hit the subscribe button, and also give that little like thing a poke as well. You're helping the channel out a great deal. Much love to you. The weekend's here. Let's enjoy it. Bye for now.